Welcome to episode 4 of the Run Republic podcast with me, your host, Kev Groom. This week's guest is Colm Doolan. Colm talks to us about how exercise helped to turn his life around and beat an alcohol addiction, which has led to him completing his goals, including marathons, Ironman events, and climbing Everest Base Camp, to name a few. Colm certainly has the gift of storytelling, so you won't hear much from me this week, but I'm sure you'll find a lot of value in what he has to say. So let's get into this week's episode of the Run Republic podcast with Colm Doolan. Colm Doolan, welcome to the Run Republic podcast. Thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us today. I should just preface that I know you. We're not strangers. We did work together many, many years ago, but
Yeah,
we might touch on that a bit later on. So I know your story, but anybody listening probably won't know your story. So can you just share with us a bit about your personal journey, I suppose, over the last 10 years, I'd say, your journey with alcohol and how you found the kind of strength to overcome it?
cheers. Yeah, 100%, Kev. Thanks. Thanks for asking me on the podcast, man. Very grateful to be asked and come on. And yeah, as you said, I know you from we used to work together, and you were definitely you took me under your wing and you showed me how to DOS and how to cut corners and how to flake on the job. But no, it's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, talking about something that I'm really passionate about, which would be running and any form of exercise and just tapping into them prehistoric resources that are great for the mind and the body. And yeah, man. So a bit of my journey as I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I haven't had the need to take a drink in over 11 years now, which I'm truly grateful for. But in saying that, like, drink was never the problem for me. My mind, my mental health, the washing machine head that I had was always the problem. Something that I experienced since I was a kid. I just had that very, very active mind, and I felt very different from my peers, from the people in my class, from with the football on the football team, even in my own family. Since I was a kid, I just always felt like I was the outsider looking in. Felt like that black sheep syndrome, and and I didn't know why, but I just got on with it. I just chewed in the back seat, and what I found is that I could find stuff externally to regulate what was going on internally. I found that out from a young age. Like, I remember when I was about, I think it was about 10 or 12, when my mum and dad got a divorce, and my mum actually moved down the country. And I come from quite a large family. I had 7 siblings, so very big family. And as I heard a guy say, I came from a perfectly normal, dysfunctional family. But a very loving family. And my dad was in the army, my mum was a nurse. But yeah, when I was about 10 or 11, my mum and dad got a divorce, and my mum moved down the country. And half the family side in Dublin, and the other half, me and the younger siblings, moved down to Wexford. And we moved down the middle of nowhere in Wexford, a place called Ballygarrett. And I remember at first being like, missing on my friends, like being mad at my mom for moving, and being like, I'm never gonna make friends down here. It's like, you will, don't worry, they'll love you down here, Colin, because you're from Dublin, and they'll be interested in all your stories from living in Dublin. And I was like, okay, maybe you're right. So I go into the schoolyard in this little village, this little school. I got from a school that had like 400 kids to this place that had like they had like one classroom with 20 kids, and there was one teacher teaching like I think like 4th class and 5th class together, or something like that. But it was a lot smaller. But I remember being out in the yard and some kids coming up to me and goes, "So you're from Dublin?" And I had a big smiling face, going, "Yeah, maybe they're going to think that's cool or something." I bet you rob cars and you do heroin. I'm like, "What?" I said, "I'm only 10 years old, pal," and that was grand. And then I remember going back up to Dublin then, and to see my like Dublin friends at the weekend, same with dad. And then they'd start getting shit off them. They'd start calling me a culture and a farmer, and so I felt this great sense of just not belonging anywhere I went, in any tribe. I just didn't fit in. I just felt unwanted. I just did not feel a connection anywhere. And I remember at that age, man, I put on lots of weight because, like I said, I was looking for stuff on the outside to regulate what was going on the inside. And I remember the first thing was food. I remember my ma used to like hide like the wagon wheels around the house, and sometimes when we were feeling fancy, she got the blue wagon wheels, the ones with the jam in them, the best
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
I would find these wagon wheels, man, I'll abolish them until I felt sick. and then I'd keep eating because I wasn't chasing the taste, I wasn't chasing the crunch, I was chasing the feeling. It was giving me this anesthetic feeling. I don't know, it was the dopamine, the sugar, but it gave me a sense of comfort and it gave me a sense of ease. So I learned that from a young age. If I feel like A and I do B, the result will be C. And it was the food was a pile on all this weight, 11, 10 years old. And I remember going to the doctor and he's like, here, this kid is like, he's gonna get a heart attack in the next year, pre-diabetic, he's nearly the same weight as my dad. My dad was a big man, like, and just piled because I was seeking comfort, and then like I remember my mom. So my mom's kind of way of coping was she started to move a lot. So we went from Wexford to Mayo to Athlone to Roscommon, all moving into all these different places because I think my mom's way of like her thing was like the grass is always green on the other side. Off we live in that house over there, that'll fix all the problems, that will solve things. Because she was obviously going through her own stuff with a divorce. Her kids are after being split up, half of them in Dublin, half of them with her. Kids are acting up because they're getting moved around, going through this broken family. And it was just like it was hard on me mom, like. And so she was moving. That was her kind of anesthetic. That was her way of dealing with it. And I remember going into this other school again in the middle of nowhere. And at the time, the big thing was football stickers. The big phase was filling up the football sticker book. And I remember going into this school, and I was like, yes, that's it, football stickers. And I became obsessed with these football stickers. And we need to collect them all. And I'd have this book, and then I'd be like in the shop, like buying stickers. The minute I got money, in the shop buying stickers. I remember at home searching down the side of the couch for money to get football stickers. Even robbing football stickers in my class. When the kids are out having lunch, I'd be looking at you school bags trying to get football stickers. It was a scallywag. But I was desperate to fill up this sticker book because my core belief was if I filled up all the stickers in this sticker book, I'd get approval, I'd get liked, and the lads would think I'm cool. The lads go, Jesus, look at Colm. He's after getting all them all the stickers into the sticker book. He's after completing it. That he's deadly, he's cool. And again, I had this belief if I got them all, I'd be liked, I'd be accepted, I'd get approval, then I'll get that feeling that I fit in. And so that was the thing, I was always looking for something on the external to regulate the internal. And what happens, I fill up all the sticker books and I arrive in with my full sticker book, waiting to get this big pat in the back, and they just turn around and say, oh, we're into Pokemon now, bro, there's a new sticker book. And it's like, for fuck's
You're
sake.
on to the next thing.
Yeah, and then it was Yu-Gi-Oh and everything else. But yeah, and that was it, man. I just felt this something in my side me was lacking. I always felt 80% around everyone. Every room I walked into, I just felt like I was lacking. And I was always seeking that 20%. Had to become the fastest in the class, the loudest in the class, the whatever it is. I was always seeking something. So it became like from this young age, just like this extreme. Just always looking for something extreme to ease, give me ease and comfort. And then I was about 13 or 14, I remember going up to Dublin one weekend to visit my dad, and we were sitting on this field, and one of the lads whipped out this bottle of Baileys, and I remember sitting there going, "What's that?" He's like, it's Baileys. I was like, what's Baileys? He goes, I don't know, my mum drinks it, and it was a grand, and so there's about five of us sitting in the circle, and we pass it around, he handed it to me, and I remember going, what's it? Oh, it's lovely, it tastes like ice cream. I was like, what? So I remember taking a sup out of it, and it just bored me throat, and I was like, Jesus, that's rotten. And handing it to the next fella, and just being like, Jesus. And it comes around the circle, it comes back to me, and I remember just going, I don't want another taste. Oh, don't be a sap, take another soup out, don't be a wussy. And that peer pressure, and I was like, well, I'll take another soup. And I remember taking another soup of it, man. And I remember just feeling this warmth in my belly and feeling like, oh, that's good. That feels nice, that feeling. And I remember just getting this lift, there's like this eureka me feeling that like, wow, this is fucking class, man. I like this feeling that I'm getting. Feeling good. Feel like I can chat to the lads, I can make the girls laugh. I just felt like I arrived in this dimension where I felt cool, I felt at ease, I was funny, I was talkative, I was confident, I was attractive, I went from feeling like an armpit to Brad Pitt, just in the space for a few drinks, and I was like, wow, this is incredible, like, and And man, it was beautiful because I felt like my whole life I was lacking something. And then I just took this drink, and my little head at that age said, "This is what I was missing my whole life was alcohol." Well, I obviously had an alcohol deficiency. This is why I was, struggling most of my life, And when I took this drink, I wiped away my fears, wiped away my anxieties, my low self-esteem, feeling inferior, not feeling good enough. I got a beautiful sensation when I drank, and yeah, and that I was just at that age, when that happened to me, I was just chasing that feeling. I was just chasing that feeling that drink gave me, and what I realized later years when I joined like a recovery program was that certain people have certain genetics that when they drink they trigger a certain reaction to alcohol, that when they have one they cannot stop, they simply just cannot stop. They have one drink and they crave another, and it's not like, "Ooh, I wouldn't mind another." It's like, "I have to have another." Like, I will fight tooth and nail to get another drink, but it only happens when I have one drink. So if I have a drink, I need another, and then when I have that drink, I need another, and I simply cannot stop once I start. It's like one is too many, and 1,000 isn't enough. That if like I'd have one drink, and next thing I'll be thinking, where am I getting the next one from? And then when I get the next drink, I'm thinking, where am I getting the next one? So I'm constantly thinking of the next drink, and I drink all the way to oblivion. I'll drink all the way to a blackout, and the problem was like 90% of the time, like nothing really happened when I drank. I'd black out, I'd fall asleep on the couch, I'd fall asleep in the garden, I'd wet the bed, I'd be the sloppy one in the pub. But then there'd be times where I'd do something ridiculous. I'd get arrested for drunk disorderly, or not putting down the drink when I was told, or, wetting myself in the middle of the pub, or, waking up with an eyebrow shaved off, or, like just ridiculous things, like, and at that age, you're kind of 13 or 14, you're getting away with it. It's funny, it's class. I remember one time walking home and I climbed into this wheelie bin, and the wheelie bin fell over, rubbish went everywhere, and I was with all the lads, and they thought it was brilliant, and they ran up and picked me up and started showing me up in the air. And I remember getting this feeling of like, wow, I fit it, like I'm accepted by the lads. I love this feeling, I felt like I just won the World Cup. So that's what I kind of found. Oh, this must be my identity, to be the entertainer, the class clown, be the funny lad, and so this was the archetype I portrayed. This was the character I wanted to be, to get likes and to get accepted. So it was always the stage character, and but beneath it, I was very, very lost, very afraid, very fearful, and very lonely, man, and depressed, but I was acting, I was just putting on the act, and I'd done that for years. In the pub, I'd be the funny guy in the pub, or the gas man in the pub, and they went free. But then when I remember waking up on a Sunday, hungover, riddled with fear, riddled with anxiety, depressed, feeling awful, and I'd say to myself, "I'm never drinking again. That's me done. I am off it." But then on Monday coming around, and be making all the plans to stay. I'm going to become a vegan. I'm going to start doing yoga. I'm going to start doing sunrise sea dips and fucking, meditating in a cave in Tibet. I'm going to do all these things to stay sober. And, then Tuesday, I'm trying to feel a bit better. Wednesday, I'm feeling great again. And Thursday, I'm texting the lads going, "What are you up to this weekend?" And we're going to the pub. And then I'm back out on a Friday. And it was just that repeat, man. It was just that repeat. And the problem with my blackouts, man, they were like Russian roulette. I didn't know what type of drunk I was going to be when I drank. And like I said to you, because I had that alcoholic gene, when I drank, I always led to a blackout. 99% of the time, when I had one drink, I'd always go like, I didn't know. I was either sober or on a stag. I could be at my granny's tea party, and if the wine comes out, I'm standing up on a table with my top off. I was either sober or on a stag, man, and that was just how the way I drank, all or nothing. I was just a pure extremist.
Was there a final straw moment then you had, like, in your late teens, or what was the one moment where you thought, "I have to make a change here once and for all," like?
The one moment, man, I remember. Actually, my dad was sober. Okay, so my dad was sober, and this one time with the alcoholic gene, and my dad attended AA meetings, and when I was in a really bad place this time, man, really dark in my mental health. The only thing kind of get me through the day a lot of the time was drinking. And I was 21 at the time, man, and like nothing going for me. Absolutely, like relationship was gone, job was like about to go, mental health was in the absolute gutter. I did not see any hope. I just lost hope, man. It's a scary place to be. We're hopeless in life. You just don't see a way out. You're just in the dark and you see no light. And that's a very scary place to be, like, and remember my family invited me down to Donegal. For my dad's 60, and I didn't have a washer, I didn't have a penny. And remember my sister saying, Colin, look, if you come down, I'll pay for your room if you just promise not to drink, And I remember thinking, I was so riddled. I was having panic attacks on the daily. I couldn't go outside without having a panic attack. And because alcohol is a depressant, it elicits anxiety and cortisol. It makes us feel fear and anxiety, like. So my sister was like, look, if you come down, and I was like, I said, I'll pay for your room, etc. And I was like, okay, I'll come down. So the whole family were down to this hotel in Donegal, Budendore, and the Great Northern Hotel. And I walk into this hotel, and over the lobby, there's this big banner that says the All Ireland Alcoholics Anonymous Convention. And I'm like, here, this is a setup. This is a sting, that like there's not a chance of me drinking down here. And like at the time, like my dad as well, he, as I said, he was attending AA meetings, and I just remember him like being like trying, because he was trying to get me sober for years, because he seen me and him, like, and I remember trying to introduce me to all his AA friends, and trying to, like, them lads trying to give me advice, and oh, you're very welcome, blah blah. And I was like, I'm too young, I'm only 21, like I can't get sober at this age. All these lads are, look like they're fucking up for the golf course or a game of bingo, like, you know what I mean? And anyway, I just remember walking around being like, I can't do it. I just need a breather from these people. And I remember going, where's the one place I can go that I can just get a break from recovering alcoholics? And there was a bar in the hotel. I said, I'm going there. And there was no alcoholics in there, no recovering alcoholics anyway. So happy days. I remember sitting there was a football game on, sitting there watching, and all these local lads that played for the football team, the local GA team came in, and they were like, oh, who getting on? What's their name? Colm. And I said, oh, what's going on here? And so there's some AA convention on. It's like, you're not one of them alcoholics. I said, oh, Jesus God, no. And I remember one of them saying, do you want a point? And I always remember thinking to myself, oh, Jesus, maybe not good timing, but I think I'll go on and have one, sure. Like, again, I'm not at this stage, I'm not aware of that gene where you have one drink, you can't stop. So we have this one drink, and next thing my head just starts lighting up and being like, right, how can I get that next drink and get away with it without my family finding out? So I'm like, I'll go to the local off license, buy a few cans, sit up in the room, have a few drinks, and no one know I'm drinking, and I'll go home and everything is great. So go to the off license and get a few cans, and then they have, like, I think they had like Captain Morgan or some spirit on sale as well. I don't drink spirits because they make me go bananas, they make me go crazy. But I remember it was on sale, and I remember going, I can't say no to that. So I buy this spirit, and I think it was vodka or fucking, I can't remember, man, to be honest. But I remember going back up to the room then, sitting down drinking this, and I black out. And I wake up in 24 hours time, and I remember my family in the room. Like, I wake up, my pillow, my face is stuck to the pillow because there's blood coming down my eyebrow. My family, I just remember my family being in the room, the staff had been in the room, the guards being in the room, and just being like, what happened? Yeah, and everyone's just shouting, roaring at me, and I'm like, I can't, what happened? Like, did I murder someone? Like, what the fuck's going on? And then I remember everyone leaving, and my sister being like, Colm, you fucking wrecked the hotel last night in a blackout. Like, I was like, did I kill anyone? She said, no, you just smashed the place up in a blackout. Like, I don't know what got into you. You just lost it. And I said, I didn't hurt anyone. She said, no, but you caused, like, they're threatening to throw us out and all. And I was like, oh my God. I remember my sister just leaving the room, and I was just there on my own. And I just remember this feeling of, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. And I just remember saying, please, God, will you help me? Please help me. And in saying that, there's a knock on my door. And I remember going to the door and opening it. And it was this young lad that was attending the convention. He was in recovery. He was only a year too older than me, but he was nearly, he's cool. Like, he had tattoos. He was like, he was cute. Like, he was a young, cool, sober person that I didn't think existed. And, I was like, hey, bro, how are you getting on? And, he chatted away to him, and he came in and told me a bit of a story, and, the race of mind that I talked about earlier. And I just felt a sense of understanding and belonging, and he said, look, man, do you want to come down to an AA meeting downstairs? And I was like, yeah, I'll try, give it a shot. And I remember going downstairs and to this AA meeting, and and I said I felt that disconnect from the start. I never got a sense of belonging. For some reason, when I sat in that AA room, when I heard other people talking about their experience, strength, and hope, I found a sense of belonging, that I belonged here. And yeah, that was my last drink. That was the 2nd of March. 2013. It was actually on my dad's birthday, which was special. It's very sentimental to me. My dad passed away 4 years ago, so I got to say eulogy at his funeral. So that was very important to me, and so yeah, and like that, man. When I got sober, it's always important if you have something that's a massive part of your life to fill it with something else. So with alcohol, man, I got big into exercise, and I loved I started to like people talk about like finding God or finding a sense of purpose and things like that. And I found out when I got sober, man, and just in my head, like just because you're not drinking doesn't mean all the answers are solved. Doesn't mean you're still not going to struggle with your mental health and life and traffic jams and bills and when your football team loses, like all this stuff still bothers us, bothers me, but. When I got sober first, I had no coping mechanism. So I remember just kind of putting down the drink and just feeling kind of miserable. I was missing out and things like that. And like I was very lucky that I got like a lot of wisdom and advice and guidance off other people in recovery. And I remember one guy reaching out to me. He was big into sports, and he used to always talk to me like about training and finding a sense of peace in nature. I remember going for a walk with him once along the beach, and he was pointing over at this boat in the water, and he said, "See that there, man? That's like higher power. That's the universe out there." And he was real hippy dippy, and I remember looking out at this boat, going, "This fella's off. This fella's mad. What's he talking about?" Yeah, his boat's holy God. What? And I remember one morning, man, I was like like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't sleep. So I decided to go for a walk down Dunleary Pier. And most people you see walking the pier at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, they're either in a really good place or they're in a really, really bad place. Like, I was in a really bad place, man. A really dark place. And I remember looking out, I think I was about 3 months sober at the time without a drink, bursting for the drink, looking over at, out with this pier, I looked over at the 40 foot and I seen something spectacular. The sun was coming up. I never seen that before. It's like I just seen it for the first time. I'm like, what is the colour of the sky illuminating, bright orange, yellow, red? Like, what is that? And I remember just getting this sense of peace and ease in me for the first time. And just being like, wow, and I started to understand what your man was talking about now when you find the sense of peace in nature, and it was just incredible, and I think from that moment, man, I started I realized that when I was drinking, it was like a little detour that I took this little detour from life, and then when I found what made me happy again, the natural things like that, the hiking, the outdoors, nature, sea swimming, cold water, exercise, and running. And I was never a good meditator, like when people talk about meditating, get on the yoga pants and sit on the yoga mat and, light the incense and say, and hit the bells. And, I never really got that, I think I had too much of a kind of active mind to sit down and meditate, so, I remember going for a run and, I going for this run and I remember the 2 kilometers and I stopped and it was awful, and then the next day or two, I go out and I ran for 3K. And I remember doing that 3K. And I'd nearly fall over. I get the tree, so right. I remember a week later, I got to 4K. And my sister was an avid runner at the time, and she always kept harping on about running. And I remember the first time her telling me she ran 5K. And I remember saying to her, you didn't stop once. Like, no, you ran 5 kilometers and you didn't stop once. Like, no, and I remember going for a run and I'd stop and get a coffee and it got and continues running and I'd stop and sit down for like a half an hour and just thinking I'm doing a run, like, but but anyway, I kept going, and then I remember doing a run and I remember the first time I got to 5K and I was like, wow, that was amazing, man. But the post run adrenaline I used to get, them post run endorphins, there's no better high. And man, come here, I used to be very fond of my alcohol and my drugs, so I'm quite an expert when it comes to highs. And I can tell you, man, the post run endorphins is the greatest high you'll ever get. Them natural highs. Yeah, it was just spectacular, man, and I loved that. So from then on, and it was funny. It was like that same euphoria feeling I got when I took a drink. I got when I went for a run. I'm being like, wow, this is incredible. I love this feeling, and then just chasing that running feeling, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. And from there, kind of, I said, right, my goal was to do a 10K run, and it was funny because at the time, I was playing a lot of Astro football, so literally, I go from like running to Astro. I played Astro actually in our old job. I was playing UCD there after work, and I remember one time playing Astro, and I was still aiming to get this 10K. There was a Dunleary race on, Dunleary Run the Bay 10K, and a guy, we were playing football anyway, and accidentally a guy fell on my leg, and my leg went the wrong way, and I just heard this mad crunch. It was just as funny, and I went to stand up, and it was great. I could stand up, but next thing I nearly fainted, and my face just went white. I remember the lad saying, "Yeah, all right, Colin." I'm like, "Yeah, I think so. I'm grand." And they're like, "You don't look well," like, and I didn't know what was going on. So anyway, one of the lads brought me down to the A&E, and the doctor checked it and said, "Okay, we'll book you in for an X-ray tomorrow, blah de blah. If you want to come, put me on a couple of painkillers, sent me home." Next day I woke up, my foot was black. My foot was black. I'm like, what is going on? I rang my sister. And I'm a typical lad. I'm really like, yeah, me think there's something wrong. She said, "Oh, what's wrong?" And my foot's just a bit weird. So what do you mean it's weird? Like, is it, oh, it's black. And she goes, your foot's black. I'm like, yeah, it's just gone mad purpley black colour. And she's like, Jesus, can we go to the hospital? I said, like, yeah, well, there's no rush, I said, we're going to come down and bring you down now. And it was a typical lad reaction that we're like, the engine light could be on in the car, but we don't bring it to the garage till it's broken down. Like, the smoke could be coming out of the engine, and we'd be like, it'd be grand. But so she brings me down to the hospital. Straight away, they're in to do an X-ray and MRI. I've torn my MCL, my ACL, my PCL, and my meniscus in this challenge, and my knee got so inflamed that there was no blood going down to my foot. Hence, it was going black because there was no blood. It was pooling. So they rushed me into surgery straight away, and I got a donor ligament on my ACL. I have my PCL got reconstructed with my hamstring, and they sewed together my meniscus, and they said that I'd probably never play football again, be lucky to run again, And I remember just sitting there, what, why me? I remember like running and like football being everything. And they were like, just just do what you can, stick to the physio, blah de blah. I remember my sister coming in. My sister, she's very woo, she's big into positive thinking. She's a yoga teacher, and I remember sitting there legging the cat. Said, "Don't worry, Colin, just think positive, and you'll manifest a new leg, blah de blah." And I remember just telling her thinking where I'd love to tell her where to go right now, she can manifest out the door, and and but she was right, you know what I mean? She was like, stay positive in your head. And I did. I stayed positive. I showed up for the physio. I remember the first month or two, this cast I just bored out my head and going around with a cast on me and crutches and, and like wasn't able to drive. So I was getting the bus, and like, I remember getting on the bus, and it was like these lovely old women getting up to let me sit down. And I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt so vulnerable, and I hate feeling like that. I hate feeling like, I hate asking for help, hate needing assistance. But I needed it, I needed it at the time, but as much as it killed me, and slowly, stay positive and things like that. And within 9 months, I was back running, and my sister was joking, saying it must be like you must have Usain Bolt's down a ligament in your knee. And I said, I don't know about that, but I definitely think he was bald anyway, because my hair fell out after I got it done. But so yeah, within that 9 months, man, I went out, I started running again. I started and then I got up to 5K, and then it was funny because a year later, when I was meant to do that Dunleary run, was on a year later, and I'd done it. I'd done the 10K, and I just remember feeling, wow, this is incredible, and I just loved that feeling. And and then so I was getting into running, and then I was just adding up the miles, and then lockdown started, and I remember like just not being able to go to the gym, not being able to do anything, you know, and I love training, love going to the gym and that. And I just remember like sitting around a lot. And I remember hearing someone say like four types of people came out of lockdown. You either came out a chunk, a hunk, a monk, or a drunk, you know. And I think I definitely came out a chunk anyway. But and look, I just every day just me like I just started running. I was like far to scump, you know, because I just found I was sitting around, my head was at me, you know, I was just feeling bored and kind of just needing to always move, and you know, because it was so good for my mental health to run. So I'd run, and then you know got up to 12k, 15k, and then I was like, right, I'm gonna do a half marathon. So I remember writing this goals list and just this random list. And I posted it on Instagram and it went viral because I had all these audacious things. I was gonna like I barely ran a fucking 10k and I had a half marathon, a full marathon, a half Ironman, a full Ironman. I was gonna swim 2,000 meters. You know, I was gonna I was gonna get a sub 5 10k. You know, just this audacious goals. This, and I stuck it up on the fridge and looked at it every morning. Like, and then I was like, right, I'm gonna walk towards this. You know, so every day I'd go out. So right, I'm gonna aim for me sub 5k, 20 minute 5k, and I got down to 25. And then a few weeks later, I might get 24. And then a few weeks later, I got 23. And then a couple of weeks later, I got 22. And then a few weeks later, I got back up to 24. I'm like, what's going on? And then I got 25. And then I got down to 22. And, you know, and I just kept following the same route. Then I got down to 20.10. And, you know, and then eventually I cracked it. And I remember thinking, oh, yes, there's got, like, just having that goal and like just staying driven and consistent and like and just saying we're gonna get it. And then it was the 10k. I was gonna do 10ks in 10 days. And it was just like over lockdown, man. I was just like I really need something to focus on, you know, need something to do. And then it was out just running because like literally all you were doing was sitting at the laptop, eating in the fridge or out running. And I was just like, and then I started getting into sea swimming as well. And the cold water, man, was so good for recovery. Like I literally run, get in the sea, and my body was as fresh as. So I discovered the power of the sea as well. And then yeah, got up to I done my first half marathon, and then I was like, right, I'm gonna start running for I'm gonna start running for a marathon. And around this time, my dad actually passed away. So you know, and I found running was such an amazing coping mechanism for me. Just when that was going on, I just found when I went down and ran, I just forgot about everything. You know, I just forgot about life, and it was beautiful because I was just so in the moment. Like when you're running, you're not like thinking about the bills, the traffic jams, the troubles in the relationship, the troubles in the jobs, you know, whatever's going on, whatever's rattling around your head, you know, when you just go out and run, man, you're just there in the moment, like, it's such a nice place to be. So yeah, I love that feeling at run game. So I ran a lot to help with that cope mechanism, and I said, right, I'm gonna run a marathon, and like obviously lockdown, there's no marathons going ahead, so I said I'm gonna do a virtual marathon, and I done it for charity for PA the House. So I said running, and I think I got 3 grand donation, about 3 grand saved up for charity of people donating, and which was incredible. Like human beings are incredible when they kind of like when you see like over lockdown, seeing all these fundraisers and just the positive things going on, and how supportive people were, like just each other, you know, people putting positive stuff on Instagram, and like the Joe Wicks stuff, everyone thought they were Joe Wicks, and I loved it though. And you know, and like, and then so I went this run, and then I remember doing this my first ever marathon. I think I done it in like 5.5 hours. And man, it was awful. No nutrition. I just ran water. I think I had 2 fig rolls and a couple of custard creams. Like, and I was no set route. So I remember running down cul-de-sacs, running around roundabouts, kept looking at my Garmin. I'd look at my Garmin, I'm on like 22k, and then I'd run for a kilometre, I'm on 23k, then I'd run into a housing estate, into someone's garden, around the car 5 times, out again. And, you know, it was like just bizarre. I was just trying to get up the kilometres. I'm like, is this ever going to end? You know, and then there's a couple of people that near the end that ran with me. And I wanted to finish at the 40 foot. And I remember stopping at the 40 foot and just collapsing. And people just be like, yeah, fair play to you, you know. And oh man, I remember getting into the scene and my whole body just, it was like a stick, man. I couldn't move. And I got out of the sea, man. I was just in bits for days after it. But again, I realised that anything I put my mind to, I can achieve it. You know, anything that I stick my mind to. I'll do it. And then the next one was the half Ironman, and like that, man, I knew I could swim. I have the gas in the tank to cycle. Sorry, I knew I could run, and I knew I could cycle, but the swim, I never swam. I was a dipper. I could doggy paddle. I didn't know how to swim. And then there was a guy down the 40 foot, lovely man, Jared Kennedy, his name is. And he is an avid sea. Like, man, he has records for the longest ice mile. He swam in Sweden, frozen lakes. He swam the English Channel with no wetsuit on. He nearly got arrested for swimming from the 40 foot to Hoth. He swam across the boat, what do you call it, whatever you call that. But it's against the law to swim across that without permission. He done it anyway. When he got out at the other side, there was like police waiting for him, man. Imagine getting arrested. But he didn't get arrested around, but it was such a cool thing, man. But yeah, he said give me a couple of swimming lessons, and was swimming with them lads, and with that, and then I started to get up to swims, and it was funny actually. One time I went out for a swim on my own, no wetsuit, out at Sea Point in the middle of February. And I remember swimming, and it was like kilometer and a half. And actually, my body started to feel weird, and I started to feel all lightheaded. And I didn't know what I started to feel all sick. And the next thing, man, my body just stopped. I couldn't lift my arm all of a sudden. I just felt myself sinking, and there was no one else around. And then I was like, "Fuck, I'm getting hypothermia." And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's like a primal thing, man. But my body just went into fight or flight mode, and I just started swimming. It wasn't even me. It was like I was a passenger in my own body. I remember like just being like, "What's going on?" And my body just started swimming like mad. And I got to the rocks and in Sea Point, and I just collapsed. So I'm about 400 meters, and I just collapsed. I remember these people like walking their dogs, and they picked me up, and they were like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I remember trying to talk to them, being like, "I'm fine," and being able to try and lift my hand up, but I couldn't. And I had like locked in syndrome, and I couldn't talk, couldn't speak. Like I got full blown hypothermia, like, and they were going to call me an ambulance on. I started coming out. They said, "Oh no, I'm grand. I'll get in a taxi." I remember just getting in a taxi home, man, just sitting in the shower for like a half an hour of hot water. I felt so sick, man. And I did that. That was like after that happened, I was such a respect for the sea. I went and got like a wetsuit. It wouldn't swim if it was rough. And I think I needed that like healthy, like little nudge to say, yeah, don't mess with Mother Nature. Mother Nature's the boss. So then I kept on with the swim when I got up to 2,000 meters. So that was so I said, right, I can in each individual thing, I can do each discipline. I can run for half marathon. I can cycle for 90 kilometers, and I can swim for 2 kilometers. So that's a half Ironman. And then what happened? Like, one of the lads was meant to do a half marathon, a half Ironman, and he reached out to me and said, I'm actually meant to do a half Ironman down Cork this weekend. Will you? I haven't got a ticket if you want to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And he said it to me first. Would you be interested in this? And I remember thinking, wow, this is a bit out of my depth, And I remember listening to this motivational speaker, Les Brown, and he was like, sometimes you need a jump before you see the safety net. Sometimes your wings on work on the way down. And I remember going, yeah, baby. And I signed up for this half Ironman, never done it before, man, just audacious, and went down, and just had that imposter syndrome, and felt like, God, what if this happens, what if that happens? And I was down in Bantry, and I remember getting into the water, and the water, man, was just thousands of jellyfish getting in, you're swimming, and all these like floating jellyfish just hitting off you, like thousands of them, man. It was such a weird sensation. And and I remember just fucking just getting on with it, putting the head down and getting it done, and got over the line. And I remember again getting out and just feeling like, wow, this was incredible. Like what a nice feeling, and it was spectacular. Just to get out, and then that kind of just drove me on then to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and it was just building up
What was your next big challenge then after your
it's still full
Ironman?
It's still full.
Yeah, it's still the full.
Yeah, do the full. I've done the half, and because it's weird. As soon as you get that, like I remember, I don't know, it's that it was like that, like with me mom moving to the next house to fix all the problems. I think at that age, at that time, it was kind of seeking the validation of or appraisal. say, right, get the medal and then I feel good. And because it was, like, at the time, I think I was just using exercise as a massive kind of distraction from life, and so I got the half, and then it was the Wicklow 200, which was a cycle, and then it was the eco trail, and that was like a 50-kilometer trail run, and it was always, what's the next big thing I can do, and yeah, and then I remember the full Ironman coming up, and trying like mad for that. And man, this was like my dream. I remember being in awe of people that done an Ironman, just being like, wow, I couldn't get over it. This, you ran that, you swam that whole distance without stopping. Like, that's incredible. Like, so yeah, one of the lads, I remember one of the lads signed up to it as well. It was in Barcelona, and the two of us were training together like crazy. Sorry, he signed up the following year. I was meant to do it in 2022. He signed up in 2023, the year ahead. And I remember trying like crazy, and I started doing martial arts as well as in jiu-jitsu. And there was a trail run in Connemara across 12 bends challenge in Galway. And I remember doing this run, and I ended up getting tendonitis in my knee 2 months out from the Ironman. And there was a half Ironman in Bantry that about a month later. And I remember going to the physio, and the physio saying, "Look, it's not looking good." But said, "If you keep doing your training, keep doing your physio, you might be okay." So I didn't run for a month. Then this half Ironman, I said, "Well, I'm gonna give it and see how we get on." I've done the fastest swim I've ever done, the fastest cycle. Started running about 10k into the run. My knee just went; it was gone, and I was like, "Fuck." And I stopped there, and then I had to get like, carried over the line. Just walked the last 10k and got carried over the line, and yeah, and that's the beauty again about the athletes that you meet on these races. This lad was doing his own race, and he stopped to help me, like, and he was going after his own little thing, and that's the beauty of the people you meet in these circles, like. But so yeah, I thought like I had to defer the Ironman. I was devastated, and so I deferred it a year later, and just got mad into martial arts, got mad into jiu-jitsu because I couldn't run anymore. But I like that. I still like love to exercise, so I just got mad into that, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu, started taking it real serious, and started winning a couple of medals in that. Got a silver medal in Europe. Then a year later, and got big into that, and then slowly the knees started to get a bit better, and I started training again, and then it was funny how it happened, because I got deferred it to 2023. It was the same year my best mate, it was one of my best mates was doing it as well. And so the two of us done a lot of training together and running together. And yeah, eventually we got around the full Ironman. And I remember the night before not being able to sleep, being riddled with anxiety, being riddled with imposter syndrome, thinking worst case scenarios. What if we die in the swim? What if my heart blows up on the run? All the worst case scenarios going through my head. And I remember sitting out, like, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, not being able to sleep, and just sitting on the bed on verge of a panic attack, and thinking away, how can I pull out of this? Even though my family had to flying over, and everyone, we're about to start in like 3 hours. I'm like, well, I come up, I was thinking, me had excuses how we can pull out of this, because I was so terrified. I remember just little Robin just landing down beside me. We were kids, my mate used to always say, when the Robin's beside you, someone's looking over you. And I remember just seeing this Robin, I just got this instant sense of peace and comfort. I felt safe, I felt like, look, everything's going to be all right. And I went and done the Ironman, man. Yeah, done the full distance Ironman, and yeah, I remember, like, for me, man, because I was so terrified of the swim. My race was just a swim for me, because I knew if I got on the bike, I'd do it. I'd have the mindset to get through on the bike. I'd have the stubbornness to get through the run. But the swim, I was terrified, because I'm out of control. I'm in the middle of the water. I can't like just stop. I remember going out and swimming, and I remember every time I got 500 meters, my watch would vibrate. So I broke it down in my head, just marginalised it, small margins, little segments. So it's 500 meters, 500 meters, and every time my watch would go vibrate, I'd be like, right, there's another chunk on, there's another bit. So I just broke it down into all these mini races. I didn't even look down the pole, I looked down the road. It was just little mini bits at a time. And yeah, that got me over the line, that got me. I remember coming to the end of the swim and just feeling the land, and getting down on my knees, and just tears coming down my face. I can't believe I've done it. I got out of swim, like, and then I done the bike. I smashed the bike, man. This bike was great because on the lead up to the bike, the bike's all about nutrition, man. You need the fuel for the run. The fourth discipline of an Ironman is nutrition, and it's like just like one of the reasons you're training on the bike, you're getting used to using whatever nutrition works for you, and and that's what it was, man. Nutrition was the nutrition seemed to go well for me, and then the run, man. The run was the hardest thing ever. Not because like physically, but mentally. Like you're doing 4 10K laps, and you're doing you've done 1 10K lap, and you're exhausted. And so it's a lap. So you've run in. So it's Barcelona Ironman. It's not in Barcelona. It's about 40 miles outside of Barcelona. So it's like you go, like you're in the middle of this little town. When you're at the start line, at the finish lines, you're in the stage and the lights and the crowds, and that's grand. But then you loop out and you have to go run out to the countryside, and it's just dark. Like at this stage, it's really dark. It's like crows flying around, and scarecrows, and it's just nothing going on, and it's just like pure like desert, and then you're flying back in, you're running back in, all the crowd, your family are cheering and you're smiling, and then you're going back out into the country and you're crying, and it was just that kind of, and it was just, man, it was all mind over matter. It was just trying to play these little games in your head to keep you motivated, whatever you can do to just keep at it. And as I play all these little games in my head, just distract me from the present moment, like, because I was in so much pain, and I had this little man and this little salesman in my head saying, just stop, Colm, just stop, just quit. Why don't you just stop, man? You've come this far, just stop, you might as well. It's mad, and I was just like playing little games with the fella in the white shirt. I was remember listening to David Goggins the night before, and he was talking about take the souls, collecting souls on the race course. And that's what in my head is going. And I was just saying all these little mantras, like saying, Colm, you didn't come this far to come this far. And I literally talking to myself like I was a baby. You never like try being a toddler on a walk, and you have to keep like saying, come on, we're nearly there, you have to, come on, I'll get you an ice cream if you come on. And that's what it was like talking to myself. I'm talking to myself like I was a baby. Saying, come on, Colm, you have this, bro. Keep going. Yeah, and just in our dialogue. And yeah, I got to the finish line, man. And I just remember my sister being there, giving me a massive hug, and yeah, it was special, man.
I'm a terrible swimmer, so I have the utmost respect for anybody who gets no water. Never mind doing Ironman, but it must have been amazing. Then one of your other big, huge goals then that you wrote down was climbing Everest Base Camp. Tell us about that.
Oh man, that was amazing. The Everest Base Camp, man, like just meeting I think that was like doing Camino, because you've no phone, you've no distractions, you literally you're down to your like basic needs. You're sleeping in sleeping bags, like your food is very basic. There's like no Wi-Fi, and you've just lots of time on your own. And like I heard a guy say recently, man's biggest problem is that he can't spend 30 minutes sitting alone, and you've no choice on this uh, expedition but to spend time on your own. And man, and when I done that, it just gave me so much clarity about life, about myself, and meeting the Sherpa people. Like, these people have absolutely nothing, and they're the happiest people I've ever met in my life. And I'm here with my nice car, my nice clothes, my nice house, but yeah, I'm still lacking, I'm still looking for more. But these people have nothing, and they're so content with life. They're absolutely delighted just to help you in any way they can, and yeah, it was incredible, and just being able to be there, be present, and the people I done it with as well. It was all these random strangers, from all over the world, that we went on this with this adventure company. So we didn't know anyone, and we ended up being like this massive family. We were supporting each other every day, and a few people went home, a few people got sick, and I had to go home, and it was just getting up there, man, was so special. It really was special, and it was actually my 10-year sober anniversary. The same month I got up to the top of Everest Base Camp, and it was a special occasion to mark it, because I remember my dad used to say to me, some days about being sober, some days a walk in the park, and other days it's a climb up Mount Everest. So they literally being out to climb up Mount Everest was special, So yeah, man, I was just really blessed to be able to do that. And yeah, it's a cool mountain, man, because it's like it's sacred, so you can't like kill any animals on the mountain. So you can't eat meat, and any meat that you do eat will inevitably food poison you because it has to be carried up on a Sherpa's back. And like these Sherpas are animals, like, they're little small people, but they're like carrying fridges and gas tanks and like 5 or 6 bags, like, and it's just like, what is going on? And just these Sherpa people are absolutely incredible. And they're just their energy, their personality, they're just awesome, awesome people, man. Really incredible.
I think
Yeah.
we've all seen it on TV, but it probably doesn't do it justice actually being there
Oh,
and
man,
seeing it
it's
for yourself.
incredible. I couldn't recommend it enough, man. Really, I couldn't. It was absolutely incredible. Mm.
You recently moved into kind of offering coaching. Talk to us about that. What was your thinking behind? Has that been on your mind for a long time as a goal, or how did that come about?
Like over lockdown, man, when I was getting into running, I found myself just like like a real good salesman for like running and sea dipping and just being able to connect and talk to people. And I started up these like boot camps and running clubs and things like that. And it was just like random, like completely free. People just coming together and having chats and things like that. And people were saying to me, "Oh, would love you to love to get coaching off you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no worries." Because it was like working full time, in an office, well, from home. But I originally was a personal trainer before I started working in an office, and that was my first qualification. And then over lockdown, like, I done a degree, or done a diploma in psychology and counselling and psychotherapy and life coaching and philosophy, and done a few breath workshops. And yeah, so I learned a lot about like working with people and getting the best out of people, and listening as well, listening to people. And so yeah, over lockdown, I got all these different kind of certifications to become a coach. And I always thought to myself, oh, typical imposter syndrome. I wouldn't be a good coach. Who could I help? And then I put it out there, said, right, I'm gonna start coaching now, because I got qualified and was put on the long finger because I just didn't believe in myself enough. Then someone said, just do it, man. What are you afraid of? Like, just do it. I remember just saying, right, I'm gonna start coaching. And my first coaching, like 12 people wanted to sign up, like, I was like, oh, and yeah, and then just from there, man, it was like just getting to know people, getting to talk to people. And some, like, I think fundamentally, like, some people just, everyone has the potential to go after it. Some people just need that little drive. It could be a little tiny spark. Could be a motivational video on YouTube. Could be a motivational quote. Could be a friend just as a throwaway comment. But just being able to, just being able to motivate people to go after it and go do these things was incredible. Like, to be able to do that. So yeah, I was chuffed. I was able to help people go after it. And yeah, just like I had one lady do her first marathon, and another guy done his first triathlon. And help a lot of people get over bad places in their life as well. Be with addiction, or with just depression, or just going through turbulence in their life. And and that's what you realize, that we all have stuff going on, like part of human experience, that we all have problems, like, you know what I mean, rich people problems, your poor people problems. And but it's like, it's not about not having problems, it's about how do you deal with the problems, like, how do you get on with it, how do you keep moving forward. And we're going to get curveballs, we're going to get like obstacles and hurdles and things like that. And it's like, right, how do you deal with it? Nothing the only thing that's certain in life is that nothing's for certain, and death is the only certainty. So it's like anything can happen. So it's just about how do you control that and how do you deal with it. And one of the biggest, I suppose, for me, the best things about me, the best thing in my life is, and simplest thing in my life, is just gratitude. I just focus on gratitude every day, and the more I do that, the better I feel. And yeah, I just every morning I wake up, and there's a few clients and a few friends, and we just send we send each other a few things we're grateful for. Just write down 5 things we're grateful for. We write down 3 things that we want to accomplish today, and we write down 3 things we're going to do to make us feel uncomfortable. So it could be getting in the sea, could be going for a run, could be meditating, journaling, could be just doing something that you don't want to do, that takes you out of your comfort zone, but inevitably will benefit you. And just, I think if you can do it on a regular basis, you start to build character, you start to build, discipline, you start to become a better person when you get uncomfortable regularly. Uncomfortable with love, as my mentor would say. So, yeah, I love being able to do that as well.
Yeah, it must be very rewarding to have people come to you and want your help to kind of get that spark, get the motivation
Yeah.
going. Is the plan to continue on with the coaching for this year and expand on, or have you got other goals in mind for
Well,
2024?
I have a few sporting goals I want to do. I want to do another full Ironman next year. I want to do a few more hikes. I want to do. I'd love to go to the peak of Everest. That's on the bucket list. Kalapatar, Mount Blanc, Kilimanjaro. Yeah, Machu Picchu. Yeah, but a few things on the goals lists, and I'd love to do Kerryway Ultra 200k as well. And yeah, and then in terms of coaching, yeah, 100%, man. If we can keep helping people and it's making people feel better, it's making me feel better. You know what I mean? If we can put out a service out there that helps people achieve their goals and realize their own potential and go after it, then man, 100%, I'd love being able to do that to help people go after it.
I can't let you go without mentioning your biggest achievement. I think your debut TV appearance on First Dates.
Yeah, this is an urgent appeal. If there's any desperate women out there looking for a high maintenance man, please hit me up.
Whatever about the Iron Man and the sea swimming, surely that was the most daunting thing you've ever done.
Oh man, it was cringy. It was a bit of crack though. I enjoyed it. It was definitely out of my comfort zone. But it was a bit of crack, man. I didn't take it too serious, so it was a fun thing to do.
I watched it this morning. Just I have to get the
Oh, did
research in
you?
for these episodes, so
Oh
I had to
Jesus, yeah.
I had to watch it. No, you came across very well. So I have to say,
Oh, that's good. Cheers, man. I appreciate that.
you have your Sober Mess podcast and a few other things. So where's the best place for people to follow along with your journey or get in touch with you about your coaching?
Just it is on the socials. Just Colm Doolan, Instagram or Facebook or Bebo. Yeah, wherever you get your podcast, the Sober Mess podcast, to just talk about enjoying life, being sober, or not even just being sober, but just the natural resources in life. Running, exercise, meditation, sea dipping. Just find your own way of enjoying life, and yeah.
Alan, I could probably talk to you all day.
You're a
You-
gent, Kev, you really
I've
are. And yeah, I thank you
pages
as
and
well.
pages of questions I'll never get to, but it
Uh,
was such an enjoyable chat.
I'm
And
not. I'm not telling you more about first dates. All your questions are probably all about first dates.
I'm sure,
I, I,
I'm
I
sure.
appreciate you taught me how to make a good cup of tea in the job. You took me under your wing, man, and showed me how to DOS.
Don't ever forget that. Whatever you do in your
Yeah,
life, whatever you
yeah,
achieve, isn't Colin. Thanks a million for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone listening gets a lot of value from your own journey and your advice and everything else. And I wish you the best for the rest of the year.
yeah,
And
man. Thanks. I'll meet you soon on the race course, Kev. I wouldn't be able to
we'll
keep
do
up to your
some.
times, though.
We'll
I'll see
do
you at the
something.
start line. I wouldn't catch you at the finish line.
Thanks a million for taking the time to chat to me today.
Okay, thanks a million. Thanks, Kev.
That's all for this week's episode of the Run Republic podcast. We really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave us a review on whichever platform you're listening on. Make sure to follow Run Republic on all of our social media channels and check out runrepublic.com for all the latest running content. Thank you for listening, and until the next time, keep on running.